Iranian president said that the prayers of Iranians had been answered in the holy month of fasting. He also described it as the most important day of the last 12 years. But how is this going down in Iran? We're joined here by Bijan Khajehpour, who is the managing partner of Atiya International. Bijan, first of all, is it an exaggeration to say that the vast majority of Iran's 80 million people will be following these talks, will know about the talks today and the deal?
No, I don't think it's an exaggeration. I think it's the truth. The Iranians have been anticipating this day, and I'm sure that they are celebrating the outcome of the talks.
It was very interesting how President Rouhani was so detailed. He went through the deal, nuclear site by nuclear site, and emphasizing that Iran was not dismantling its nuclear infrastructure. Does this tell us that Iran is worried about selling the deal at home, giving an impression that it's somehow sold out?
I think, first of all, we have to appreciate that this was one of the Iranian red lines, that basically the infrastructure in place should not be dismantled. And I think this is an achievement considering the length of the negotiations and the whole process. The other fact is that there will be opponents to this deal, and there will be people who will try to offer a different and alternative interpretation of this deal and all the different points you just mentioned. President Rouhani going through every single point and outlining what that actually meant for Iran and what Iran was actually going to deliver was important to offer a first-hand governmental interpretation before the opponents would basically try to criticize the achievements.
He admitted that sanctions had an impact on the everyday lives of Iranians. You have looked in detail of what will be the financial impact for Iran of this deal. $100 billion potentially?
Well, that's just the funds that have been blocked in international banks, which should actually be available to Iran once sanctions are lifted, especially the banking sanctions are lifted. But there are obviously other upsides. But we have to appreciate that the actual sanctions relief, the actual change will probably kick in 6 months. Probably the first half of 2016 is the period we have to look at actual practical implications for the Iranian economy. But we know that there is a psychological impact, we know there is an emotional impact, we know that a lot of processes had been on hold in Iran, which probably will now come into a new momentum or generate a new momentum. So yes, there will be an impact, but I think one of the critical elements in the process over the next few weeks and months will be to manage the expectations of the Iranian people so that they are not disappointed at the actual impact of this deal. The deal is the beginning of a process which will change Iran over the next couple of years.
Javed Zarif, the chief negotiator, has made much of dignity. He said Iran wanted to restore its rights. For Iranians, what does this deal mean symbolically for them in terms of their relationship with the outside world?
I think the symbolism of it is a return to normalcy. I think for the past decade or so, the Iranians felt that they were being treated unjustly, and that the feeling was that we deserve to be somewhere else in the international scene, on the international scene, and this deal will be a starting point of reintegrating Iran in a normal set of relations across the world.
I heard one Iranian say that this deal changes everything. That's a tall order.
It is a tall order, and we have to be careful. It is a process, and it will take a number of other steps. I mean, the deal will pave the way for some changes, but there will be the need for economic reform, there will be the need for legal reform. Iran will be again open for foreign investment, but again, there we need legal, structural, economic reforms to actually attract foreign investment. So the government has to both manage expectations, but at the same time also engage in a number of reforms that will be needed to benefit from this deal.
Bijan Khajehpour, thank you very much for joining us here on a rainy day here in Vienna.